Good evening, this is Brastax Hamzaka Jacob. The Nabanna Avijan undertaken by the BJP turned out to be a violent affair. There was tear gas, water cannons and stone pelting, all dominating the streets of Kolkata. To the ruling TMC, there's a very simple question. Why do you have to bring down the iron fist of the state on a democratic protest? After all, wouldn't the TMC brook the same thing if they were in opposition and they wanted to protest against a quote-unquote autocratic regime? The BJP is the principal opposition party. They have every democratic right to protest. And to the BJP, is looting, arson, setting police vehicles on fire, causing inconvenience to the general public, is all of this construed as a democratic protest? First, let's get to the story and then we'll open this up to our panelists.
Clashes, lathi charge, stone pelting, tear gas shells, water cannons, and even crude bombs. Every form of force was used to clamp down on BJP's Nabanna march. Hundreds of BJP workers from across the state landed up in Kolkata and neighbouring Howrah to take part in a march to the Secretariat to protest against alleged corruption by the Trinamool Congress government. The police had not given permission for the march and put up barricades in several places. But what followed was completely unprecedented. Angry BJP workers came face to face with the police and mayhem unfolded.
Major, tussle right now going on between the two sides. Obviously, as far as the security personnel is concerned, it shields up because these stones and bricks are being thrown, frequently from the other side.
BJP leader Shuvendhu Adhikari, Lokit Chatterjee and Rahul Sinha were stopped by the police near the Secretariat and detained after a lot of resistance.
আপনি তো অ্যারেস্ট ডিক্লেয়ার করেছেন আপনি আমার গায়ে হাত দিয়েছেন আর দেবে না যা করেছে ঠিক আছে আমি ইনস্ট্রাকশন দিলাম আপনার সামনে কেন ও গায়ে হাত দেবে কেন আমার
In Howrah, the crackdown was most brutal. Protesting BJP workers were manhandled by the police. Water cannons and tear gas shells were fired on them and they retaliated by throwing bricks at the police. Protesters were lathi-charged and rounded up by the cops.
Unfortunately, I've been hit on my shoulder over here, on my left shoulder, but I think I'm okay. And you can see, the police now right in my backdrop. They are now retreating for a bit. Consistent brickbatting that's happening on them.
The BJP has accused the Mamata Banerjee government of trying to forcibly stop a democratic protest.
ममता जी का साथ आदमी नहीं है, बंगाल का जनता नहीं है, इसलिए जैसे नॉर्थ कोरिया में करता है तानाशाही, इस तरीके से बंगाल में भी तानाशाही कर रहा है.
The TMC defended the crackdown and accused BJP goons of destroying public property. The TMC has been cornered over corruption with several party leaders, including ministers, being arrested or raided over scams. And now, with this shocking use of force, is the Bengal government on the back foot?
All right, a full panel joining us this evening on the talking point. Sanju Verma, BJP national spokesperson, Saket Gokhale, spokesperson of the TMC, Abhijit Majumdar is contributor with First Post, Tausif Ahmed Khan, advocate and political analyst, and Shom Mondal is also an advocate. Since we have a full panel of able and capable spokespersons, my humble request and the ground rules before we start the debate, please speak at your time. Please try and not interrupt when another fellow panelist is speaking, and try and please answer the questions that are asked of you. Let me start with Saket Gokhale because the TMC is the ruling party in Bengal. Why resort to the use of force to stop what was a scheduled democratic protest by an opposition party? The BJP is, whether you like it or not, the principal opposition party in Bengal, and they have every right to protest peacefully. By cracking down on them in the manner in which the police today have, aren't you giving the impression that you are not brooking peaceful democratic protests?
First of all, let me refer to the line that you used, which is peaceful democratic protest. Everybody has the right to protest peacefully. The BJP, there was no crackdown. The police had imposed barricades. Nabanna is a high security area, and the BJP had been denied permission to go to the state executive office where the chief minister sits. This is the norm, not just in West Bengal. This is everywhere around the country. Anywhere you go, there are designated spots. I can't go outside the Prime Minister's office and protest. I have to go to Jantar Mantar in Delhi. Number one. Number two, force was used by the police when absolute hooliganism was displayed by the BJP. BJP goons started pelting stones at the police. They've set a police PCR van on fire. ACP Devji Chatterjee, his fractured hand has been fractured. There are shocking visuals of how an entire mob has surrounded police personnel and are beating them and throwing stones at them. Now, please tell me, you are asking about democratic protests. If this kind of a protest had happened anywhere else in the country, wouldn't the bulldozers be out right now? So then, in that case, should we bring out the bulldozers tomorrow against everybody who's involved in destruction of government property and violence against the police?
Sanju Verma, please respond. Setting a police vehicle on fire, arson, inflicting a fracture on a police officer, stone pelting on the streets of Kolkata. That's clearly not a democratic protest. That is certainly not a peaceful protest. And the police are saying they had to resort to tear gas and water cannons because BJP Karyakartas were unruly.
You know, Zaka, I believe that the proof of the pudding is always in the eating. And while I will completely answer the question that you put to me in terms of what happened today, let us not fool ourselves. Let truth be told. The TMC dispensation for over a decade under the Mamata Banerjee regime has been draconian, to put it mildly. And each time their bluff is called, you know, the narrative is almost identical. You know, shoot and scoot. Instead of owning up to what they've done, they actually try and make a scapegoat of the BJP, but it is not going to happen any longer. I remember after the post-poll violence, they said nothing happened. After the Hamsakhali gang rape, they said nothing happened. After the Birbhum massacre earlier this year, in which 12 people were burnt alive, they said nothing happened. But their lives were actually called out by none other than the Kolkata High Court. And imagine the audacity of the Mamata Banerjee government, that despite the Kolkata High Court handing over the post-poll violence case to the CBI, the Birbhum massacre case to the CBI, the Hamsakhali gang rape case to the CBI, till today, Zaka, put a hand on your heart. Anyone who follows politics even remotely knows Mamata Banerjee has shown no regret or remorse for the violence in Bengal over the last decade or so.
Because if it was any of us, you
No,
would interrupt
one second. I'll come back to you. I requested both of you not to interrupt each other while the other person is speaking. I'll come back to you, Saket. 1 second. Let her finish. Please, come on. I said this at the top of the show. Don't make me repeat it, please. Yeah, Sanju Verma, finish.
Thank you, Zaka. And I found a very interesting statement, Zaka, today, before coming on your show. Kunal Ghosh, the General Secretary and National Spokesperson of the TMC, you know what he said? He said actually the people protesting and the people who were, tear gassed by the police and had water cannons thrown at them and lathis rained on them, they were not BJP workers. They were actually, unfortunately, some of our own policemen in plain clothes and media people who were trying to create a ruckus. In fact, this statement of his, which is quite in contrast to what the top leadership is saying, is all over the local news and print media in Bengal. So the fact of the matter is that let the TMC first decide internally who are the people who today vandalize public property. Were they plainclothes men?
No, for the record, Sanju Verma, your leader Amit Malviya also said that it was actually TMC fellows who were in BJP costumes who came and burned the vehicle. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. But Saket, you said that, okay, Nabanna is a high security area and therefore, people are not allowed to protest there. But these people were stopped in Howrah, 20 kilometers away. Surely that's not a high security area.
Zaka, you always, every time on your show or even in the beginning of it, you always say, questions should be answered when asked. Did the BJP spokesperson answer your question about the involvement? I mean, your reporters were on the ground here. you saw that the BJP workers were clearly involved in violence. They're clearly involved in throwing stones at the police. They're clearly involved in injuring police personnel. The PCR van was burned down by BJP workers. Are you seriously going to not even show a semblance of neutrality and demand an answer from the BJP spokesperson for that?
No, my job is to ask the questions, whether you answer or not. I mean, I can't force you, no. I mean, it's a television show, not Big Boss.
No, but they're talking about 100 unrelated things. Are you not going to do your basic job as a journalist?
I asked her the question. I asked her the question just like I'm asking you the question. So can we come back? Can we come back to the question that I asked you, Saket? Admittedly, one at a time. No, the violence happened.
BJP indulged in violence.
Yeah. Can I list out the sequence of events? Can I list out the sequence of events? No one is justifying the violence. It's absolutely reprehensible. But the violence happened post. No, the violence happened post facto. The violence happened because the BJP workers were stopped 20 kilometers away in Howrah. And I'm asking you, yes, Nabonno, no, you can't march to Parliament. You can't march to Nabonno. That's fine. But why are you stopping them 20 kilometers away?
Tell me, Zaka, you never asked this question when people going to Hathras were stopped in Noida itself, not allowed to proceed on to Hathras. Then the BJP was completely okay when they were doing that. At that time, none of these questions were asked. When people were merely visiting Hathras.
Sanju Verma, last year when the farmers came to protest, you did not even allow them into Delhi. You stopped them at Delhi's borders. So how different is what Mamata Banerjee's police did today from what you did last year, or your government did last year?
Let me answer very quickly. First and foremost, nobody was trying to break police barricades and enter, an area which is not meant for public protests and rallies. Outside Bolpur railway station, outside Durgapur railway station, and outside Raniganj railway station, when people were just climbing into the trains because they wanted to be a part of this entire exercise, the police unprovoked started lathi charging them without any provocation. So please don't sit here and give a bhashan on transparency, accountability and honesty. And I say this to the Trinamool spokesperson. And the second point, Zaka, which you asked me, let's be very clear. Thank God it was Narendra Modi at the helm and Amit Shah as Home Minister that the farm protests were reined in without bloodshed. Had it been a Trinamool Congress dispensation or somebody like a Rahul Gandhi, I don't know what would have happened on the day we saw that insurrection at the Red Fort. Thank God there were 600 kids inside the Red Fort, but a policeman acted with a lot of alacrity.
Okay, I want to now move away from the political spokespersons. I want to go to Abhijit Majumdar first and then Tausif Ahmed Khan. Abhijit Majumdar, put in context the politics for us, because this is coming a few weeks after we saw pictures of Partho Chatterjee first and then Anubrata Mondal, and all those images of those wads of cash are still fresh in people's memories. Is this an attempt by the Trinamool to try and wrest back some of the lost political narrative or the high ground that it seems to have lost over the last couple of months or so because of these corruption allegations? Now, these images, and you can look at it any which way you want, but these images of violence, of police vehicles being set on fire, arson, looting, etc., that's not exactly going to do the BJP any favors.
Zaka, from where I see it, it seems to me like a carnival of irony. And at the center of this irony is the CM herself, Mamata Banerjee. You know why I say it's so ironical is that Mamata Banerjee was once the ultimate street fighter, and today she is so defensive that she is unleashing, unnecessary force at many places. Maybe the TMC spokesperson is right that, near Nabanna, obviously there would be more security and, the police would not allow. But, in districts, at railway stations, people have been stopped from boarding trains, roughed up. So it's, how tables have turned in, in a matter of 15 years or so. The Mamata Banerjee who was the symbol of honesty in politics in many ways. She still wears slippers, but look at what is coming out of the cupboard. I mean, crores and crores of cash. of her own party men and women. Similarly, Mamata Banerjee has been the victim of tremendous amount of violence from CPM cadre and also the cops and the administration, the left administration, which ruled with an iron fist. But this same, it seems that every response, TMC's response to every single occasion, to every single event, to every single thing is force violence. And this is borne out by the what has happened in the last few years. We have seen it unfold in front of our eyes. We have seen how post-poll violence took place. We have seen how pre-poll violence took place. Murder after murder after murder. It's it's in court, and even today, after today's massive mess, the High Court, Calcutta High Court, I believe, has asked the Chief Secretary for a report.
Correct.
Within a few days, within 7 days.
Yeah.
And asked the administration to not detain people just arbitrarily. So even the judiciary, and we have seen even the judiciary being being threatened openly by the party. We have seen the cops, the police force almost behaving like TMC cadre. It is pretty unfortunate, and I am just wondering what is making the TMC government so nervous, so defensive, so
Tausif Ahmed Khan, your party, your claim to fame. I mean, Mamata Banerjee shot to fame nationally on the 21st of July 1993. You guys even celebrated today as Martyrs' Day, when I think a dozen of your supporters were killed in a police shootout. You are the party of Shingur and Nandigram. If you do not allow a protest to happen and bring down the iron fist of the state with water cannons and tear gas, and today I believe there is a female worker of the BJP who's battling for her life. If she were to lose her life tomorrow, the party of protest is responsible for the iron fist of the state.
You see, Zaka, whether iron fist was used against the hooliganism of BJP worker today is debatable. But what we have seen is that Mamata Banerjee successfully thwarted an attempt by the BJP to take the city, the twin city of Kolkata and Howrah, for a ride today. No police did not open any fire. No casualties reported. No protesters received any eviction notice. No protesters' house has been demolished or bulldozed. So if we compare the iron fist action of the state from Uttar Pradesh to Bengal, I think we have the Mamata Banerjee administration has been very soft. Now
one second. This is a political protest. Now you could argue that there was violence, but I think the violence happened because these people were not allowed to demonstrate. For a political protest to be stopped 20 kilometers away from the city by a party that shot to fame through protests, isn't that ironic? And I think that's what Abhijit Majumdar is also trying to say. I mean, this is a carnival of irony.
Now, how can you call this a political protest when the permission sought for was not given? When the Section 144 is imposed in Secretariat, everyone knows no route was approved by the police from which route the rally will go. And when we all know that I'm not sure if it has been debated on your channel, but it has been public statement has come from various Trinamool police official and Trinamool leaders and police official that this protest today, a so-called protest, a violent protest, was orchestrated. Days ago in Vedic village, there was a meeting where 11 crore rupees was distributed, and people have been brought today with the sole purpose to create a ruckus, to burn and damage the public property. How is this a democratic peaceful protest?
Let me ask Som Mandal, the fact that the High Court has had to weigh in. The High Court today has asked the Home Secretary of Bengal to file a report by the 19th of September. asking him very specifically as to who all were arrested, what were the grounds for arrest, and whether there were any arbitrary arrests. We have seen in the past, in the post-poll violence case, in other cases, where the Calcutta High Court, even in the corruption cases, whether it's Partho Chatterjee or Anubrata Mondal, the Calcutta High Court has had to intervene in a way so as to correct, at least in public perception, some of the wrong steps that were being taken. So, is this also yet another in those steps where the court is not convinced that all of the arrests and detentions happened today were in line with democratic practice?
Zaka, what I feel, I was listening to Tausif, and he said something correct, that all political parties have the right to protest. And I think BJP has been protesting with full legal rights. And I think there is totally violence from TMC workers which instigated the whole thing to flare up. Under the article freedom of speech, expression, article 19(1)(a), B and C, any person has right to protest peacefully. And I think the distinction here is between whether it was peaceful or not peaceful. According to me, what I've seen from the scene, it's clearly that the police and the TMC workers have actually incited BJP workers to go into protest in a violent manner. It was police who tear gassed, and it was the plainclothes TMC workers who instigated the police as well to do the tear gassing. So I think BJP was well within its rights, legal rights, and the Calcutta High Court should actually order an inquiry in the whole process, because obviously nobody is likely to take the blame, and I think an independent inquiry is very much required.
Saket Gokhale, respond to what Mr. Mandal said, because he's echoing what BJP's Amit Malviya put out in a tweet earlier today, that Mamata Banerjee is the one who sent TMC Garda as well as plainclothes policemen to pelt stones so that later the BJP could be blamed for it. Please respond to that.
I think, no, let me take it a step further. I think these were CIA agents, these were MI6 agents doing an international conspiracy against Prime Minister Narendra. I mean, come on. You expect me to respond to such hilarious and stupid things? That we've dressed up people as BJP workers and send them out? Really? Is this the level of discourse that we're descending to right now? Plain and simple. I cannot believe there is you and this other panelist who literally just said that violence happened because the police stopped them. I'm sorry, this Prime Minister of this country refers to protesters derisively as Andolanjeevis. Andolanjeevis never go out and do this kind of violence. So what about these Andolanjeevis today? Are you saying that because the police stopped them from marching to Nabanna, violence, for whatever reason, is violence against police and destruction of public property justified? And if you're going to justify it, it just shows that the BJP is a party of hypocrites. BJP is a party where they have a different standard for their own workers and different standard for everybody else. Destruction of government property must be punished.
Okay, Sanju Verma, respond. Destruction of government property. You can't throw stones at police persons, set police vehicles on fire and then expect the police not to do anything.
Zaka, let me lay down some facts. Even before there was any provocation, 20 kilometers from the supposed rally which the BJP was planning to hold, the police had already started tear gassing peaceful protesters, had started raining lathi charges, and started showering water cannons at them. Point number 2, Mamata Banerjee talking about transparency, honesty, accountability in public life is such an oxymoron, because let's not forget, Mamata Banerjee is the same chief minister who is so rattled, and she simply does not, get into the skin of her role. She denied Mohan Bhagwat. He wanted to hold a rally at parade ground. She denied Amit Shah's chopper just prior to landing at the helipad. She refused to acknowledge that there was an attack, a murderous attack at Diamond Harbour when JP Nadda was carrying out his... So Mamata Banerjee has a lot to be accountable for. Till date, I have not seen Mamata Banerjee show an iota of regret for people like Abhijit Sarkar, Mithun Bagaria, Amit Sarkar, Shobha Rani Majumdar, Trilochan Mahato, Dhulel Kumar, Ganesh Roy, Devendranath Ray. These are all BJP workers who were either found hanging from trees or brutally hacked to death. And the TMC panelists, who I have had the misfortune to share a panel with on umpteen debates have actually come,
Sorry,
mocked
this is
at,
a personal
sneered
attack.
at, and jeered at.
This is a
Please
personal attack. I'm going
Please
to
shut
leave.
up. I did not heckle you. Shut up. I did not heckle you. Tell your horses.
Ma'am,
Zaka, I want
please.
to ask. No, Zaka, I will not allow this man to heckle.
No, but no personal attacks. Come on, you know that. That's a basic rule. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
It's not a personal attack. If he keeps heckling me, I have to show him his place because he does not understand any other language. I will end by saying this. Be it the Bhauduria riots, be it the Bashirhat riots of 2016, be it the Kaliyachak violence, be it the Asansol violence of 2018, be it the Jabalpur violence of 2019, or be it the Sita Tulsi violence of 2020-21, or be it the violence that we saw today unfolding in Bengal. The DNA of Trinamool Congress has not changed, and the DNA thrives on violence.
Saket, respond. Saket, if you're there, respond to. All right, we've lost Saket. We'll try and re-establish his link. But Tausif, respond to what Sanju Verma has just said.
I did not follow most of what she said, and I'm not alien to her bad mouthing the other panelist. So anyway,
Please
the fact today
stop
is.
giving me a bhashan. You have been
Okay, ma'am, we all patiently heard you. Let him make his point, please. Let him make his point. Let him make his point, please. Thank you. Yeah. Tausif.
You see, Zaka, the violence which took place today. Let us, even if I buy the argument that the protesters were provoked, then if the protesters were provoked, then it was the duty of the protesters not to be provoked. What gives them the right to go and burn public property, beat policemen? There are videos, senior policemen like assistant commissioner, from the rank of assistant commissioner to the rank of constable. Everyone has been beaten up. They have been taken in the side and beaten up. Dozens of people, dozens of protesters pouncing on one police officer. All the images are there. All the videos are available.
Tausif, the point that the BJP is making is the violence happened, I think, around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. But BJP workers were stopped from 10 o'clock in the morning, 20 kilometers away from Nabonno. And had all the BJP leaders not been arrested, maybe things would not have gotten this violent, because then the cadre did not know what to do and they went berserk.
No, they were under instructions perhaps, because we saw even when the BJP leaders were arrested, escorted in the van, taken to Lal Bazar, they were talking on the phone. They were in touch with their followers on the phone. And they could have instructed not to resort into violence. See, This is a lame excuse. This was a pre-planned attack. They knew that we have to go out on the street and we have to create this ruckus. So that's, I don't know what political point they want to prove.
Whether it is the coal scam, the cattle smuggling scam, the teachers recruitment scam, clearly the TMC seems to be on the back foot when it comes to these corruption cases, or at least perception of these corruption cases, because let's face it, none of these cases have been proven in a court of law yet. Particularly after the wads of cash that were recovered from Arpita Mukherjee's residence. Do you think that this is an attempt by the TMC to settle scores or to try and wrest the narrative back from the BJP to show that, look, the BJP is a party of violence, so whatever they say about corruption allegations against us, take it with a pinch of salt?
No, Zaka, the impression that I'm increasingly getting from Bengal, it may be just me, but it is that TMC is running out of any kind of political imagination. It heavily relies on violence. Violence has been its stock response to everything, from political to civic, challenges, it also heavily depends on the politics of demography to sort of stay in power. But violence is also a thing of diminishing returns. It cannot go on forever.
Yeah.
And it will also, at some point of time, when people turn against you, it will beget violence. The point is that in all this, the state of Bengal suffers immensely because it has been bleeding for over a century now in different ways, partition, riots, genocide, massacres, political violence, everything. So it is very, very unfortunate that Mamata Banerjee has not actually done anything. Also her political think tank doesn't seem to have any kind of a response to political challenges other than street violence, whether it is by people, who are cadres and, who are goons, or people who are uniformed.
All right, Mr. Mondal wanted to come in, yeah. Mr.
I think there is no rule of law in Bengal. I have been observing that in Bengal, that Mamata Banerjee, while she cries out for rule of law for her own partymen, but actually she does not follow any rule of law for BJP workers or any opposition for that matter. And I think as citizens in Bengal, things are getting in such a situation that everybody has to go to court to seek relief. And I think even in this case, as you rightly pointed out earlier, that the court is looking into it. It's very unfortunate that in a democracy, for everything the court has to decide, because it is the government's duty to look at things independently. But unfortunately for Mamata Banerjee and Bengal and the people of Bengal has to go to the court or seek a relief from the court, which is very unfortunate.
Okay. But let me go back to Tausif. And Tausif, it comes back to, again, if the BJP activists, as you say, all of them indulged in stone pelting, your Twitter handle, your party's official Twitter handle also mocked these workers, saying 56-inch chest model busted. Clearly, that's an instigation when the situation is already volatile, isn't it?
No, there is no editing in that video. I've seen that video. It is the, it is the words of the leader himself. He is himself giving the opportunity to others to mock him. What can one do? If we saw Amit Malviya tweeted or retweeted a video and claimed it that Trinamool workers are setting the vehicle on fire, which was called out by the independent journalist based in Kolkata. Many independent journalists retweeted Amit Walia's tweet and called him out that, no, these are the BJP workers. And then by the evening, all the videos started circulating, and we all know that it was BJP workers who torched the vehicle. So, this attempt to peddle fake news comes from BJP. We have seen that time and again.
Sanju Verma, final word. I got to wrap up after that.
Did not peddle any fake news.
I need to make a comment because he's spoken against the PM.
Yeah.
Zaka, I just want to say one thing. जो हिंदी में कहावत है, उल्टा चोर कोतवाल को डांटे, चोरी ऊपर से सीना जोड़ी. So I don't want to dignify this man, hate-mongering bigot called Tausif, who sits on every debate and gives integrity certificates to the BJP, whereas his eyes are closed to the Bashirhat riots, the Bhaduria riots, the Asansol riots. Today has not even expressed regret for condemning the violence in West Bengal. I want to say to all Trinamool Congress leaders who say that BJP is rattled by the TMC's successive victories in Bengal. Excuse me, the TMC was saying we will come to power in Goa. What happened? They won 0 seats. The TMC said we will win with a thumping majority in the Tripura local body election. They won 1 seat out of 333 seats. The BJP won 330 seats. So don't challenge us. We are doing well. We will get better. But the Trinamool is only limited to being a small vernacular party, whether breathe while you talk. Like Tausif, agree or not?
Okay, I'm going to wrap up. I want to leave it at that. Sanju Verma, Tausif Ahmed Khan, Abhijeet Majumdar and Som Mandal, and also Saket Gokhale, who left us midway through this debate. But one thing is clear, that it can't be one rule in Kolkata, another rule in Delhi. A peaceful protest is a peaceful protest. It's a democratic right. It's an expression of frustration, if you will. It's an expression of protest. It's an expression of opposition against policies of a government, and that is a legitimate right of any opposition party. Of course, things should not descend to violence like the way they did, but then the violence happened a good 2-3 hours after the detentions began, and perhaps it was because of the fact that the BJP workers were not allowed anywhere close to Nabanna. That's why the violence happened. Not seeking to justify it. It is unacceptable in a democracy that there should be violence, but one was post facto, the other happened before. I'm going to take a break. When we come back, we've got a story from Bengaluru, as well as, of course, brass tack superfast. All of that right on the other side of the screen.